Is this the beginning of World War III? What is the competition of these two sides? How do regular Americans and influencers feel about this issue? Is this war between Middle East and the West? What is the core of the issue? Why is this war happening now? I visited Israel and Palestine before the war started, and I wanted to share my views as an Indian American. I have dated a Palestinian American girl from California. I have so many Muslim friends all around the world. My friends from school, my real estate partners, my customers, my barber in Delhi, and many more. On the other hand, I have so many amazing Jewish friends as well. I have hired so many Israeli Americans at my development company that I've been running since 2010, from project managers to marketing professionals to software developers. When I landed in Ben Gurion Airport and rented a car, I headed to the holiest city on the entire planet, Jerusalem.
So finally I'm back in Israel. The car's safe, I've got the keys, and I'm headed to my apartment now in the city of Jerusalem on Jaffa Street, which is a very important place.
All the Abrahamic religions are from this region. We have the Dome of the Rock, the holy place for Muslims, also known as the Al-Aqsa Mosque.
I'm here at the Dome of the Rock. This is a really important place for the Muslims. So there are two mosques actually. One that you see behind me, that's the Dome of the Rock. And there's another dome that you won't be able to see from here, but that's on that side. That is also another mosque. So the entry into that mosque is not allowed. I'm not sure about this one, but what I'm gonna do is just go get closer. It's really, really beautiful. It's got a lot of beautiful walls and different patterns on the wall that I'm looking forward to seeing.
The Western Wall, the holiest place for the Jewish people.
I'm here at the Western Wall, a really significant site for Jewish people. So this is the wall that remains from thousands and thousands of years ago. Very, very important site. You can see a lot of people praying on the wall.
And of course, the Holy Sepulchre, the city of Bethlehem, the holiest place for Christians.
I'm here in Bethlehem in the main church, and I'm going to the cave where Jesus Christ was born. There's a huge line here.
After visiting the church, when I went out for dinner, I noticed immediately that Israelis are all very happy people, dancing on the streets and celebrating. They love technology, they love music, they love security, and they love AI. On October 7th, 2023, early in the morning, the Palestinian fighters breached the border in 3 places and launched a military operation from land, from the sea, and from air. This is the worst attack since 1973, around 50 years ago. The Yom Kippur War, also known as the Ramadan War, the October War, the 1973 Arabic-Israeli War, or the 4th Arab-Israeli War, was an armed conflict. However, there were differences. The last war was state to state, but this one is a massive terrorist attack, gunning people down in their own homes and attacking civilians. People of all ages were taken hostage, and the current numbers are more than 100 people are taken away. The conflict between Israel and Palestine is complex and deeply rooted issue with historical, religious, political, and territorial dimensions. It's important to note that the perspectives on the conflict can vary, and the historical events leading to the current situation are often interpreted differently by different parties. Here's a broad overview. Let's look at the historical background. So, pre-20th century, meaning before 1900, the region historically known as Palestine has been home to various communities, including Jews, Muslims, Christians. In the late 19th century and early 20th century, tensions increased as Jewish immigrants to Palestine, then part of the Ottoman Empire, grew due to the Zionist movement, which sought to establish a national homeland for the Jewish people. Balfour Declaration of 1917 was an important event. During World War I, the British issued the Balfour Declaration, expressing support for the establishment of a national home for the Jewish people in Palestine. This marked the beginning of British involvement in the region. British mandate from 1920 to 1948 is an important period as well. After World War I, the League of Nations granted Britain the mandate to administer Palestine. Tensions between Jewish and Arab communities increased, with both groups aspiring to control the land. Then comes the 1947 UN Partition Plan. The United Nations proposed a partition plan in 1947 to divide Palestine into separate Jewish and Arab states, with Jerusalem as an international city. While Jewish leaders accepted the plan, Arab leaders rejected it, leading to the declaration of the State of Israel in 1948. Arab-Israeli War from 1948 to 1949. The declaration of the State of Israel led to the armed conflict between Israel and neighboring Arab states. Israel gained control of more territory than allotted by the UN Partition Plan. Then comes post-1948 border and the refugees. The war resulted in a displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians who fled or were expelled from their homes. The issue remains a central point for contention today, with Palestinians advocating for the right of return for refugees. Six-Day War in 1967 is also an important historical event. Israel captured the West Bank, East Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, and the Golan Heights in the Six-Day War. The terrorists have been a major source of conflict ever since. Then comes in the 1990s the Oslo Accords. Attempts at peaceful negotiations led to the Oslo Accords, which aimed to establish a framework for resolution for the conflict and eventually creation of a Palestinian state. However, the implementation faced significant challenges. Then the next important event is Second Intifada from 2000 to 2005. The period of intensified Palestinian-Israeli violence erupted, leading to widespread unrest and breakdown of peace talks. What about the recent developments? Well, efforts to restart peaceful negotiations have been sporadic, with issues such as settlements, the status of Jerusalem, and the right to return for the Palestinian refugees remaining major obstacles. The conflict is multifaceted, involving issues of national identity, self-determination, historical grievances, and control over land. It continues to have a profound impact on the lives of Israelis and Palestinians, as well as the broader Middle East region. Different perspectives and interpretations of history contribute to the ongoing complexity of the situation. I want to be careful what I say on this video. I don't want to ignore the fact that this is a complicated issue, and there are good Palestinian people both in Gaza and the West Bank who have some genuine concerns. I will, however, condemn the radical Muslims unequivocally, and I must stand with Israel. No matter how grave the concerns of Palestinian people, the only way to get justice is by peaceful protest and non-cooperation. Very similar to how, when India was colonized, Mahatma Gandhi ensured that by not cooperating with the Britishers, he would make them aware of the plight of the Indian people, and they would eventually do the right thing and leave our country. And we won the independence in 1947. When I crossed the border from Israel to West Bank to go to Bethlehem, you would notice that going in was very easy, and the people were cheerful and they looked like me. They were all happy and laughing. Personally, I'm an atheist. I don't believe that any religion can be helpful for humanity in 2023. Still, one of my favorite authors, Sam Harris, mentions that there are religions that are violent versus the ones that are less violent. As an example, Buddhists seem to be very peaceful and into meditation. Hindus seem to be accepting of other religions, the concept of polytheism, meaning multiple gods, and even Christians would almost never violate human rights. They may all foolishly believe in silly stories about reincarnation or the other cosmic claims, but the radical Muslims take it to another level. Imagine the time when the city of Jerusalem had 4 quarters: Christian quarter, Muslim quarter, Jewish quarter, and the Armenian quarter.
So as I mentioned, it's divided into 4 quarters. It's the Christian quarter on this side, then there's the Armenian quarter, the Jewish quarter, which is most developed, that's where we're staying, and then the Muslim quarter. And right there is the Dome of the Rock, which you see right behind me. Really amazing.
Imagine when they all lived in harmony. I would have to agree with the international community and condemn this barbaric terrorist attack on civilians even though I have sympathy with the good Palestinian people, but there's no room for violating human rights. Whatever love I have for my Muslim brothers does not justify this type of terrorist attack, and they have in fact made it more difficult for the world to be with them and help them out. I saw some testimony from parents of the missing children on Israeli news, and it was heartbreaking. The president of Palestine does not support the action by Hamas. He wants peaceful solution, and I'm sure many Palestinian people are upset with the way attacks were carried out, and they would have to face the consequences now. This is a 9/11 of Israel. It is like a terror attack that happened in Mumbai, the one we call 26/11. I appreciate the global support that's coming for Israelis, but there seems to be some support coming for Hamas as well. I'm glad that both my countries, US and India, have condemned this attack. So you must be wondering, who's on the Palestinian side? Well, here's a list of countries that are on the other side, and that's why there's a chance that this could be an all-out war and become World War III. Of course, Iran and Lebanon are the big supporters of Hamas. Then we have Russia and China, who have failed to condemn Hamas. There may be radical groups in other countries as well, like Turkey, where one of my best friends lives with his family and 2 kids. There may be some small groups in Egypt, Sudan, and even Qatar and UAE that are in support of the radical Muslims and the actions that were taken. There is no doubt that this conflict is very complex. And if I can take a couple of minutes to explain the story from the other side, after World War II and the Holocaust, Jews needed a state of their own and needed a country where they could be safe. There was a 2-state solution that was imposed by the British and the Americans and the rest of the world. However, the Israeli people started buying land from other Palestinians and started settling in those armed settlements all over the West Bank region. When there was any type of violence, the Israeli military was heavy-handed and would go in and conduct raids and arrest people. I'm sure several innocent people may have also suffered due to this, but to become radical and carry out a large-scale terrorist attack is not cool at all. Here's a $1 million question. What can we do as common people to help out and support the peace and be unbiased? And I'm afraid there's no easy answer. All I've been doing since the war started is just watching different networks on the TV and trying to understand their perspective. Al Jazeera is a state-sponsored station from Qatar, and even though I do not like that there were so many violations of human rights in Qatar and a lot of South Asian people lost their lives working in the construction sector and other sectors, I know that Qatar is a very smart country. They're emotionally intelligent. They invest in the right places. They listen. They understand. They believe in dialogue and diplomacy. And even though Al Jazeera is a bit biased, they would not go all out and let the Palestinian people say whatever they want on TV. I also watch I-24 News, which is the local Israeli channel. I watch the PBS News and I like it a lot. I listen to CNN, NBC, ABC, and Fox as well, the popular American channels. Here's what I learned from watching all of this news. Well, last year, when Benjamin-Netanyahu's government came into power, they became a bit more right-wing as a government. What that means is like similar to how when Trump was elected and there was lower tolerance for illegal immigration and the racism that happened against the African-American people.
Nearly 180,000 illegal immigrants with criminal records ordered deported from our country are tonight roaming free to threaten peaceful citizens.
Similar to the Black Lives Matter movement, when the cops were more intolerant towards my African-American brothers, the Israeli police must be stopping people for checking and conducting raids. I believe that this situation is unprecedented and can escalate. My heart goes out for all the people, minus the radical Muslims who are carrying out these horrific attacks. I hope all of my subscribers and friends in the States and in India and internationally as well can understand my take and see how this is very difficult situation for some, and something that'll take a very long time to solve. Let us stay human. Let's empathize. Let's try to build a peaceful world for the generations to come. Leave me some comments on your take if you agree or disagree with anything that I mentioned in this video, and I'll make sure to personally read and respond to you. I don't usually get many views unless I run ads. It breaks my heart, but that's such a first world problem. Subscribe to my channel for more content. Mostly I create travel videos, self-help videos, and technology videos. And mostly my videos are are very happy videos. This one though was very difficult to make and one of the saddest videos. You can also watch my Auschwitz video where I scientifically explain why good people sometimes behave the way they do and that we are all capable of being brainwashed. Also, you might like my upcoming video where I went to Ukraine while the war is still going on. I'll bring my experience to you and show you what is it like inside Lviv and how people were living during the war. Until next time, goodbye.